Whose is This? Written by Narinder Dami, illustrated by Victor Tavares. Chapter 1. It was the second day of the town culture fair. People had come together to celebrate and share the different foods and traditions of their cultures. Maria and her friend Kimmy were going to the fair with Maria's mom and dad. They were really excited to visit all the booths and find out more about their neighbors. When Maria, her parents, and Kimmy arrived at the fair, they saw people selling delicious foods at some of the stands. "I want to try all the different foods," laughed Kimmy. There was also music, dancing, and storytelling. Everywhere Maria and Kimmy looked, they saw color and movement. Some people were wearing beautiful clothes from other countries. "This is so much fun," Maria said. "I can't wait to start walking around."
"We'll walk around the fair later," said Maria's dad. "First, your mom and I are working at the information stand. We'll be helping people find their way around the fair. You girls can come and help us." Maria and Kimmy looked disappointed. They wanted to explore right away, but they agreed to help out at the information stand. Maria and Kimmy gave maps of the fair to people passing by, but soon they got a little bored. "You can fold these for me," said Maria's mom, handing them a stack of maps. Maria and Kimmy sat underneath the table folding maps. They watched people's feet going past. "Everyone's having more fun than we are," Kimmy said sadly. "I know," said Maria. She folded a map into a paper plane and threw it at Kimmy. Kimmy gasped. Then she laughed. Soon they were both in fits of giggles. "What are you two doing under there?" said Maria's mom as she peered under the table. "Stop causing mischief." The girls reluctantly crawled out from under the table and went to stand behind it. Then something on the ground caught Kimmy's eye. Chapter 2. It was a box, and it was full of interesting and colorful objects. But Maria and Kimmy didn't know what any of them were. "Look what we found, Mom," said Maria. "That's the lost and found box," said Maria's mom. "Most of those things were lost yesterday. Mrs. Rodriguez, the woman handing out maps yesterday, told me she couldn't find out who owned them. She didn't even know what some of them were. Actually, neither do I." "I have a great idea, Maria," Kimmy said. "Why don't we try to find the people who lost these things?" "Can we, Mom?" asked Maria. "I guess you girls can do a little exploring," said Maria's mom. "Just don't go too far." "Yes, let's do it," Maria laughed. She held out the box to Kimmy. "You choose the first thing." Kimmy closed her eyes and pulled out something out of the box. It was a long orange cloth. The cloth went on and on and on. The girls thought it would never end. "What is it?" asked Maria. "Maybe it's a tablecloth," Kimmy replied. "But it's not the right shape," Maria said. "Let's walk around and see if we can find out what it is." The girls walked around the stands looking for clues. They passed by their neighbors' stands. Mr. Obi, their Nigerian neighbor, was selling his goat curry. His wife was next to him, wearing a bright blue head wrap, but it wasn't like the orange cloth. Then they came to an Indian stand. A woman wearing a beautiful sari was selling bangles and bindis. "Maria," Kimmy said excitedly, "I think this cloth might be a sari." The woman overheard Kimmy and smiled. "It's not quite the right shape for a sari," she said, "but I think it might belong to my husband. Does that give you a clue?"
The girls were puzzled. Then they heard a voice over the loudspeaker.
"The turban tying competition is starting right now. Show us how quickly you can tie your turban."
Some men went past carrying rolls of brightly colored cloth.
"I know,"
Maria cried, holding up the orange cloth.
"It's a turban."
"You're right," the woman laughed.
"Lots of Indian men wear turbans. My husband wanted to enter the competition, but he lost his turban. Thank you for returning it."
Maria and Kimmy watched the turban tying competition. The men wrapped the turbans around their heads very quickly. The winner did it in just 6 minutes.
"Awesome,"
Maria said.
"I wonder what else is in the lost and found box,"
said Kimmy. They headed back to the information stand. Chapter 3. Now it was Maria's turn to choose. She closed her eyes and pulled something out of the box.
"It's a stick,"
said Maria.
"Maybe it's a musical instrument,"
Kimmy said. Maria tried to blow into the stick, but no sound came out. The girls walked around the fair, asking the people behind the booths about the stick, but no one knew what it was for.
"Maybe it's a toy,"
said Maria. Then Kimmy spotted Moki, a Lakota boy from their school.
"Hi, Moki," she called. "Look at this stick we found."
Moki grinned and took the stick. "It's my grandfather's," he said. "He lost it yesterday. Do you know what it is, Kimmy?" Moki gave the stick to Kimmy.
"Is it a musical instrument?"
asked Kimmy. "No," Moki said, taking the stick. "Do you know Maria?" He gave her the stick.
"Is it a toy?"
said Maria.
"Or a walking stick?"
Moki took the stick back. "Wrong," he said.
"Why do you keep giving us the stick and taking it back?"
asked Maria.
"Because only the person holding the stick can talk?"
Kimmy guessed. "Yes, it's a talking stick," Moki laughed. "When Native American people, like the Lakota, have meetings, only the person with the stick can speak."
"That's so cool,"
Maria said. The girls said goodbye to Moki and returned to the information stand.
"Let's see what else is in the box,"
Maria said.
"It's your turn, Kimmy."
Kimmy closed her eyes and pulled something from the box. Chapter 4. Kimmy pulled out a small case of shiny, polished wood. The girls opened it. Inside were 12 round hollows carved into the wood.
"I think it's a party dish,"
said Maria.
"You put nuts in it."
"Maybe it's a jewelry box," said Kimmy. The girls set out walking around the stands again. They talked to Kimmy's neighbor, Madame Fontaine, who was selling her homemade French pastries, but she didn't know what the case was. The girls talked to more and more people, but no one knew what the wooden case was for.
"Maybe it's to keep marbles in,"
Maria said. Suddenly, Kimmy looked down. She saw a blue stone lying at her feet. She picked it up.
"Look, there's another,"
said Maria, pointing at the ground.
"And another."
The girls followed the trail. There were 12 blue stones, and they led to small tables where lots of children were playing the same board game. Each of the wooden boards had 12 holes filled with stones or seeds.
"Oh, you found my son's aware nom-nom game,"
said a woman in a Ghanaian dress. Children in West Africa love Aware Nom Nom. Can we play? Kimmy asked. Of course, said the woman. She showed the girls how to play the game. Maria and Kimmy had a fun time playing Aware Nom Nom. When they got back to the information stand, Maria peeped inside the box. There's one thing left, Kimmy, Maria said, and I don't know what it is. The last thing at the bottom of the box was made of shiny metal. It was round and looked a bit heavy, and it had a lid. It looks like a frying pan, said Kimmy. But the handle's all wrong, Maria replied with a frown. The girls walked around the fair. They showed the strange metal object to everyone they met. No one knew what it was. At last they went back to the information stand. We don't know who lost this, Mom, Maria said. Maria's mom smiled. That belongs to your grandma, she said. Just then, Maria's grandma came up to them. I want to start making tortillas to sell at our booth, Grandma said, but I've lost my tortilla press. Here it is, Grandma, Maria laughed. Oh, thank you, Grandma said. The press makes my tortillas nice and thin. Can we come and watch you make tortillas, Grandma? Maria asked. And maybe eat some of them too? Kimmy added. Grandma chuckled. Of course, she said. Tortillas for my young detectives.